So have you ever read a book or watched a movie or maybe even a TV show where you see a character that you just cannot stand? Or maybe you've connected with a character who is so lovable, just like your own best friend. Or maybe you've met a character who gets on your nerves so much that you want them to die. Okay, we can stop right there because we do not need to dive that deep into wishing death on characters. Please get that out of your mind. But have you ever stopped to think about there's actually a reason behind these characters and how they act? It's all because of character dynamics and personalities, to be specific. Each character that you grow a connection with, even though you don't know them personally, but it feels like you know them personally, is because their personalities were developed so well that it's like you are best friends with them. It's like they're your worst enemy. It's like that you've encountered them and now you have a grudge against them. So if you want to learn how to improve your character dynamics and personalities for your own story, for your own novel, your own movie, TV show, whatever you're working on, this is the video that you have to watch. Because today we're going to dive into the different personality traits, different personality tactics that are used in storytelling that can make you a better writer and a better author for your audience. Let's get started. So let's talk about understanding personality types, which is pretty simple if you're a storyteller or a writer with access to the internet. There are tons of personality tests, quizzes, and assessments out there that can really help you dive deep into the type of personality you want your character to possess. You don't have to do any guesswork. All you have to do is take an assessment. Myers-Briggs, for example, is a common personality test that people take often to learn about their own personalities, but it's a hack that storytellers like yourself can actually use to learn more about your character's personality and how you should position them in your story. But let's be honest, in storytelling, personality assessments like this are needed. So if you're not doing this already, it's time to start doing it today. It'll help you better identify and connect with who your character is as you build your story and as you continue with the plot. So, to help you avoid going through all these hurdles of understanding these different personality types and really trying to decide which one you want your character to possess, let's go through them together. So let's go on and just break down the various types of personality groups that are out there based on 4 categories. And for this, I am using Myers-Briggs research as well to break down these characteristics. So let's dive into the first group, which are analysts, or your logical thinkers. And it's exactly how it sounds. These are people who tend to think logically. They like facts. They tend to stick with the rules. They think logically about situations. They follow plans, strategies. They are knowledge seekers. They want to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So if your character has this type of personality trait, then you have to realize that they will be more focused on certain aspects over others. For example, they would be more focused on facts, sticking to facts, and maybe even debunking false ideologies out there with said facts. They may be into science, they may be into history, they may even be into research. But it's important for you, if your character is like this, to embody these types of characteristics for them. So if your character is a logical thinker, it's important for you to embody these characteristics of them so that your audience can fully understand what they are like in the real world, in their personal times, and things of that nature. Now let's go into our next group, which is the sentinels, or your level-headed people. These are people who are basically like analysts, but they have more of a personal approach to them. So keep that in mind. These are the type of people who tend to be more caring and open-minded in their approaches, especially in their pursuit for knowledge. They also stick to the facts, but they still are practical in nature. They are protectors, especially of those that they love. They tend to be great managers, and they tend to be good stewards of things, whether it's people, whether it's a project, and things of that nature. They're also caring and helpful. So if you wanted to put these types of people in a box, you would put them in a box that is more laid back, but is also still determined. They still seek knowledge, they still pursue knowledge, but they also care about people at the same time. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Next, you have your diplomats, or your social butterflies, as I like to call them. They are people who value the opposite of your logical thinkers. They're people who value the art of connections, especially with other people, and they enjoy loving on others. They are kind, they are quiet, they are mystical, they are characteristic, they're very inspiring, they have a good nature about them. Everyone just loves them because they're so open, especially with their mindsets. They are pretty open. They love to just hear people out. They love to build those connections, and that's the important part to note about these types of characters, is that they thrive on connections. So if you're not embodying connections with this characteristic, with this character that has these personality traits, then it's going to be lost in translation for people who you're trying to get to read. So don't forget that these type of people are sociable. They love to interact with others. They love to get to know others. They are more focused on building personal relationships and even being relatable and leading with compassion. They are all about what's going on in their hearts. So keep that in mind. And finally, you have your explorers, or your adventure and thrill seekers. I know there's probably a lot of us out here, but for your character, here's the type of things that they would possess if you wanted them to be that type of thrill-seeking, adventure-loving person. So this type of person is a jack of all trades. They're flexible and they are always ready for any type of adventure that comes their way. They're very smart, but they're also full of energy, and they are always enthusiastic in everything that they do. So these are the type of people who are daredevils, right? They're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to do things that may scare others. They're not afraid to just go out there and just seek the next thrill, the next adventure that comes their way. Heck, they'll even accept the next challenge that comes their way from a person. So think about this as you begin to build your story. If your character or characters are thrill seekers, if they are these explorers, if they possess this type of personality trait. So now that we know about the different personality types that are out there, it's time for us to face our fears and use them to improve the personality of our characters. Look, this is the missing key that's needed to really take your character to the next level. Instead of making them so two-dimensional, this is your key to boosting their personality so that they are more three-dimensional and have more depth, more personality. So let's use Joe from You as an example. Or, he has many different names. Use one of them, it doesn't matter. But let's take him, for example, as to the type of characteristic he has and how it has impacted him during the whole entire plot of You. So just by analyzing him in the story itself, you can tell his personality type is more of an analyst due to his high intelligence, his attention to detail, and his constant rush of thoughts. We see how he is under pressure. We see how he is when he's faced with different types of situations, when he's nearly caught, when he is caught. We see that he knows how to cover his tracks, right? That is very much the personality types and traits that analysts possess. Even when he's in high stressful situations, he keeps himself as composed as possible. And he also wants to get his facts straight, especially on the off chance that someone catches him when he's doing wrong. We know this, we see this, we've seen it throughout all seasons. His personality type never changed. And this is the power that is possessed when you truly assign a right personality to your character. It adds more depth to them. It makes you understand their thought processes. You might not agree with it, but you definitely understand on a deeper scale what is really going on here. So take that into account as you begin to build your character or characters for your own story, your own novel, your own film, whatever creative work you're working on.